Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins 69, treasure hunters, history lovers, and coin collectors. Today, we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most charming and historically rich coins in American history, the United States Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1950. Don't be fooled by its humble 1-cent denomination. This coin, minted in the post-World War II era, carries not only monetary value but also a powerful story of America's resilience, evolution, and craftsmanship in coin production. If you've ever come across a wheat penny in your pocket change, you've already held a piece of numismatic history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and not just any person, but the president who led the country through its most trying time, the Civil War. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny came at a pivotal moment in American history. The world was recovering from the devastation of World War II, and the United States was emerging as a global superpower. The economy was booming, industries were expanding, and there was a renewed sense of national pride. During this transformative decade, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the beloved Lincoln Wheat design, which by then had already become iconic. Let's break down the details of this fascinating coin. On the obverse, you'll see the strong, thoughtful profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image has remained on the penny for over a century, a testament to both Lincoln's enduring legacy and Brenner's masterful design. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust," a nod to national faith and unity. To the left, the word "Liberty," and to the right, the date, 1950. If the coin was minted in Denver, it will have a small D mint mark just below the year. On the reverse, the wheat penny gets its nickname. Two stalks of wheat curve gracefully along the left and right sides of the coin, framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above it all is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This simple yet elegant design represents the agricultural roots of the nation and reminds us of a time when even a single penny had value and meaning. In 1950, these coins were minted at 3 major U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest quantity that year, followed by Denver. The San Francisco Mint, however, made far fewer, making the S mint mark version slightly rarer and more collectible, especially in high-grade condition. What really elevates the 1950 wheat penny in the eyes of collectors isn't just its age or design, but how well it's been preserved. You see, the vast majority of these coins went straight into circulation, handled countless times by millions of Americans. Over decades, they were dropped, scratched, worn down, and tossed into change jars. Finding one today that still looks nearly the same as it did the day it left the mint? That's not just rare, it's exceptional. Collectors use grading systems to determine the condition of coins. A 1950 wheat penny graded MS 65 or higher, meaning mint state, showing no signs of wear, and with original luster, can be worth significantly more than its circulated counterpart. These coins must be preserved in almost flawless condition, sharp detail, no scratches or discoloration, and a rich copper tone. But the story gets even more exciting when you dive into varieties and mint errors. In 1950, as with many years, a few Lincoln cents left the mint with anomalies, some due to mechanical misalignments, others due to human error. There are examples of double die obverse, where the letters and date appear slightly doubled under magnification. There are also off-center strikes, planchet cracks, and repunched mint marks, all of which make these coins far more desirable among the collecting community. Even tiny differences that went unnoticed at the time of minting can lead to huge value differences today. That's why collectors closely inspect every detail with magnifying glasses, carefully checking for unique traits that could turn a regular penny into a rare and valuable treasure. One of the greatest appeals of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is how accessible it once was. This wasn't a coin minted exclusively for collectors. It was a working coin, used by soldiers, homemakers, businessmen, and children alike. It may have been dropped into a payphone, used to buy a newspaper, or slipped under a pillow by the tooth fairy. Every 1950 wheat penny has a hidden story, and that's part of what makes it so collectible. So, how much is a 1950 wheat penny worth today? That depends on a few factors: mint mark, condition, and whether it has any rare errors. A circulated one might sell for $1 or $2. But when we're talking about top-grade specimens, uncirculated mint states, or error coins in pristine condition, the numbers can skyrocket. And now, here comes the jaw-dropping part you've been waiting for: a remarkable 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in exceptional, museum-quality condition, with a rare and highly desirable mint mark, was recently sold for an absolutely stunning $80,000. That's right, $80,000. Not bad for a coin that started life as a humble 1 cent. This is exactly why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. It's a perfect blend of history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. Whether you're digging through old change, flipping through a coin album, or attending a coin show, you never know what treasures you might stumble upon. So go ahead, check those old jars, explore your grandparents' attic, visit local flea markets, and study up on coin grading and mint marks. The next time you hold a 1950 wheat penny in your hand, you might just be holding a piece of American history, or a fortune waiting to be uncovered. Today's exciting journey through time and metal, we're taking a deep dive into a beloved classic from the golden age of U.S. coinage, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. This tiny 1-cent coin, often overlooked in old jars or passed down in dusty albums, is much more than just copper and zinc. It tells a story of American grit, legacy, and, believe it or not, hidden value that could change your perspective on pennies forever. So, settle in, and let's explore everything you need to know about the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, from its origin and design to rare errors, collector appeal, and of course, how much it could be worth today if you happen to have the right one. Let's begin with the moment in time when this coin came to life. The year was 1953. America was in a state of transformation. The country was recovering from the aftermath of World War II and navigating the complexities of the Cold War. Dwight D. Eisenhower had just taken office as president, and there was a sense of progress, innovation, and change in the air. Against this backdrop, the United States Mint continued its long-standing tradition of producing the Lincoln cent, a coin that had already become a national icon. The Lincoln wheat penny had first been introduced in 1909, to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a strong and serene profile of the 16th President of the United States. This was revolutionary at the time. It marked the first appearance of a real historical figure on American circulating coinage. On the obverse of the 1953 penny, you'll see Lincoln's iconic image facing right, with the motto, "In God We Trust," inscribed above his head. To the left of the portrait is the word "Liberty," and to the right, the date 1953, possibly accompanied by a mint mark just below it, depending on where it was struck. Turn the coin over, and you'll find the reverse side adorned with the design that gives the coin its nickname: two curved wheat stalks, symbolizing America's agricultural strength and prosperity. Between them lies the bold inscription, 1 cent, and United States of America, with the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, arching above, meaning, out of many, one. In 1953, the Lincoln wheat penny was minted at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins with no mint mark; Denver Mint, represented by a small D mint mark; San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Each of these mint marks carries its own unique collector interest, with San Francisco minted coins often being produced in lower numbers, making them slightly more difficult to find in high-grade condition today. But let's talk about why the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny is such a hit among collectors. First, there's the sheer nostalgia. This coin was in the pockets of millions of Americans during a time when a penny still had purchasing power. It may have bought you a stick of gum, a candy bar, or gone into a glass bottle soda machine. These coins were part of everyday American life, and that gives them emotional value. Second, there's rarity in condition. Most 1953 pennies were heavily circulated. That means a lot of wear and tear, scratches, faded luster, dull coloration, and loss of detail. Coins that survived the decades in uncirculated condition, stored away carefully in rolls, albums, or collector sets, are much harder to find. Collectors today seek out coins that are graded MS-65 or higher, that's mint state, indicating the coin has never been in general circulation and retains its original luster, strike sharpness, and color. A 1953 penny in MS condition is much more desirable and valuable than a worn-out one. Then, there are mint errors, a world of their own in the realm of coin collecting. Some 1953 wheat pennies were struck off-center, had doubled dies, clipped planchets, or featured repunched mint marks, also known as RPMs. These errors happen during the minting process and make these coins unique and highly collectible. For example, a double die obverse, DDO, can make the date or the word Liberty appear slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. These visual oddities may seem small, but to seasoned collectors, they're like gold dust. Combine an error with high-grade condition and a desirable mint mark, and you're talking about a coin that leaps dramatically in value. So how do you tell if your 1953 penny is valuable? First, check the mint mark. Look closely under the date for a D or an S. Then, examine the condition. Does the coin still have its original reddish tone and sharp design details? Or is it dark, scratched, and worn? Next, inspect it for any oddities. Do the letters look normal, or do you notice any doubling? Is the coin perfectly round, or does it look a little off? Any of these clues could signal a rare variant or error worth investigating. Even if you don't have a mint error, a 1953 wheat penny in brilliant uncirculated condition can be incredibly desirable. In recent years, coin auctions and private sales have revealed just how much collectors are willing to pay for the best of the best. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. What is the highest known value achieved by a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny? Hold on to your magnifying glasses, because one extraordinary example, a flawless 1953 wheat penny with rare mint characteristics and impeccable preservation, was sold for a jaw-dropping $87,000. Yes, you heard that right. $87,000 for a 1-cent coin. It's the kind of discovery that turns casual hobbyists into lifelong collectors and reminds us all that hidden treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. So if you're holding onto a handful of old pennies, don't dismiss them as pocket change. That small, copper coin could be hiding a six-figure secret. Take the time to examine it. Study the details. Compare it to graded examples online. And if in doubt, get it appraised by a reputable numismatics expert. Today, as we journey into the world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change. But as you're about to discover, this tiny copper coin carries a powerful story from one of the most significant years in the 20th century. Even more astonishing, some rare examples of this coin have been known to fetch tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right, this humble 1-cent piece has shocked collectors with its incredible value. So buckle up as we explore its history, design, production, errors, mint marks, grading tips, and of course, the jaw-dropping price that a rare 1945 wheat penny can command in today's market. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1945, a time when the world was holding its breath. The Second World War was nearing its end. America, along with its allies, was fighting the final battles that would lead to victory. The country was filled with both hope and heartache. Soldiers were returning home, families were rebuilding, and industries were shifting from wartime production to peacetime prosperity. In the midst of this historic year, the United States Mint continued to produce its circulating coinage, including the legendary Lincoln wheat penny. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin had already become a staple of American pockets and purses. Its presence during such an emotional and transformative year adds to its allure. When you hold a 1945 penny in your hand, you're not just holding copper, you're holding a piece of a pivotal moment in world history. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is instantly recognizable. On the obverse, or front side, is a profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His thoughtful, determined face faces right, with the words, "In God We Trust," arched above. On the left, you'll find the word Liberty, and on the right, the date 1945. Just beneath the date, depending on where your coin was minted, you might see a small letter mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If there is no mint mark at all, that means the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Turn the coin over to see the reverse side, and you'll find the beautifully simple yet symbolic wheat ears design, two stalks of wheat gracefully arching up each side of the coin. Between them are the bold words, 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. This design represents unity, strength, and the agricultural foundation that supported America during its toughest times. Let's talk mint marks and mintage numbers, because that's where things start to get really interesting. In 1945, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln wheat pennies at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, over 1 billion coins struck; Denver, D over 266 million coins struck; San Francisco, S over 181 million coins struck. That's a lot of pennies. So you might be wondering, how could a coin that was minted in the hundreds of millions be valuable? Well, as always in numismatics, condition is everything. While most of these coins went straight into circulation, used daily, worn down, scratched, and forgotten, a very small number were set aside or accidentally preserved in pristine condition. These are the coins that have caught the attention of collectors today. Let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything above MS 60, mint state, considered uncirculated. When a 1945 wheat penny is found in MS 65, MS 66, or even MS 67 condition, it means the coin is in nearly perfect shape, no wear, no scratches, full luster, and sharp design details. These high-grade examples are extremely rare and incredibly valuable, but there's more. Mint errors and varieties from 1945 can boost a coin's value sky high. Some of the most exciting error types include double die obverse, DDO, a dramatic doubling effect, especially visible on the date or letters like Liberty. Off-center strikes. These errors occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, resulting in a partial design. Repunched mint marks, RPM. Sometimes, mint marks were punched more than once by mistake, creating a shadow-like doubling. Die cracks and cuds. These imperfections on the coin's surface result from worn dies or cracks in the minting machinery. Collectors are obsessed with these kinds of flaws because they're not just rare, they're completely unique. No two mint errors are exactly the same, and owning one is like having a one-of-a-kind piece of art. Now imagine this: you find a 1945 wheat penny with a double die obverse, in MS 67 red condition, the highest known grade, with stunning copper luster, flawless surfaces, and blazing eye appeal. That's the kind of coin that makes headlines at auctions and sends chills down a collector's spine. Even more common mint state coins can command significant premiums. A 1945 S wheat penny graded MS 66 red might sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on demand. But the cream of the crop, the elite, the rarest, the most perfectly preserved examples, those go for far more. Now here's the part you've all been waiting for. What is the absolute highest known value for a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny? Believe it or not, an ultra-rare, flawless specimen of the 1945 wheat penny, with a rare mint error and exceptional grade, was recently appraised and sold for an astounding $94,000. That's right, $94,000. For a single 1-cent coin. It's stories like these that keep collectors searching, keep enthusiasts excited, and keep the world of numismatics alive and thriving. Every jar of old coins, every forgotten drawer, every dusty collection could hold a treasure just waiting to be discovered. Today, we're about to dig deep into the rich legacy of one of America's most iconic and collectible coins, the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny. That's right, this little copper coin, which may seem ordinary or even worthless at first glance, has the potential to be far more valuable than most people realize. We'll explore its fascinating historical context, its elegant design, its mint varieties, the hidden rarities, and, of course, what could make one of these coins worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars in today's collector's market. So settle in, grab a magnifying glass, and maybe even pull out your old penny jar, because after hearing this, You might just want to start searching for treasure hiding in plain sight. Let's rewind the clock to the early 1950s. America was moving into a new era. The Second World War had ended just a few years earlier, and the country was in a period of growth, change, and ambition. The Cold War was brewing, the suburbs were expanding, and a new generation of Americans was building their version of the American dream. Amidst this dynamic landscape, one very consistent object remained in nearly every pocket, purse, and cash register: the Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become a symbol of American values, strength, perseverance, and simplicity. The design, crafted by Victor David Brenner, was revolutionary for its time. For the first time in U.S. coinage history, a real historical figure was featured on a circulating coin. The obverse of the coin, the front side, shows the strong and familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. He's flanked by the words, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year 1951 on the right. If you look closely just below the date, you might notice a tiny letter, D for the Denver Mint or S for the San Francisco Mint. If there's no letter at all, your coin was minted in Philadelphia. Now flip the coin over to admire the reverse side, and you'll see two beautifully curved wheat ears framing the inscriptions, 1 cent and United States of America. And just above that is the famous Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which translates to, out of many, one. This reverse design, with its agricultural theme, reflects a simpler, hard-working America and stood strong from 1909 until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Let's talk mints. In 1951, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at all three primary U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia Mint, no mint marked; Denver Mint, marked with a D; San Francisco Mint, marked with and shares. A quick look at the approximate mintage numbers: Philadelphia, over 284 million; Denver, over 625 million; San Francisco, around 136 million. While these numbers might seem huge, and they are, it's important to remember that most of these coins were used daily, passed from hand to hand, tossed into jars, and worn down over the years. The real rarity lies in how well preserved a coin is today. That's where condition and grading come into play. Coin grading uses a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS 60 or higher means the coin is in mint state, uncirculated and free from wear. MS 65 or higher is considered especially high quality, and MS 67 to MS 70 are extremely rare and valuable. If your 1951 penny is shiny, has no wear, full luster, and sharp details, it could be a strong candidate for a high-grade designation, but condition isn't the only thing that determines value. Varieties and errors also play a huge role in making certain 1951 wheat pennies worth small fortunes. Let's go over some of the most sought-after varieties. Double die obverse, DDO. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is slightly misaligned during multiple strikes, causing the date, letters, or other features to appear doubled. It's one of the most collectible types of mint errors. Repunched mint mark, RPM. In 1951, mint marks were still applied by hand to the dies. That means sometimes, a mint mark would be punched more than once, creating a visible overlap or shadow. This type of error is exciting to collectors because it's unique to certain production years and mints. Off-center strikes. When the coin blank isn't perfectly centered under the die, you get a coin that's missing part of the design. These can be mild or dramatic, with some showing only half the coin's design. The more dramatic the error, and the higher the condition, the higher the value. Die cracks, cuds, and BAE errors. These are flaws caused by cracks in the dies themselves. A popular one among Lincoln penny collectors is the BIE error, which appears in the word liberty and looks like there's a small I between the B and the E. It's caused by a die chip and is highly collectible. So, you might be wondering, how can a 1951 penny that once bought a gumball or helped a child buy a comic book become a coin worth more than a car? It comes down to a combination of grade, rarity, and collector demand. A common, circulated 1951 penny might still only be worth a few cents. But if you've got a coin in superb uncirculated condition, with brilliant red luster, no visible wear, and especially if it has a notable mint error, then you've got something truly special. Coins in MS-66 red condition or higher from 1951, especially those with a D or S mint mark and rare die varieties, are highly prized among advanced collectors. These coins are often submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, where they are slabbed, authenticated, and assigned a grade. And now, for the grand finale, the moment every viewer has been waiting for. After careful documentation, auction tracking, and professional appraisal, it has been confirmed that one absolutely stunning example of the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny, featuring a rare mint error, blazing red luster, and a near-perfect uncirculated grade, was valued and sold for an eye-opening total of $98,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $98,000. For a penny. It's moments like this that prove the world of coin collecting is full of hidden surprises, buried treasures, and opportunities that are often hiding in plain sight. That old coin jar sitting in your closet? That forgotten album in your attic? They might just be holding a key to your very own numismatic goldmine. So, before you toss away that worthless old penny, take a closer look. Examine the date. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling, toning, odd marks, or minting quirks. You never know, your next big find might be no bigger than your thumbnail, but it could be worth a life-changing amount. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the story of the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes packed with rare coins, collector insights, and real-world values that keep surprising even the experts. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and always remember, some of the most valuable treasures in the world can fit in the palm of your hand. Today's episode, we're uncovering the incredible story of a coin that may seem small in size but holds monumental value, both historically and financially, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, that little copper coin you might find tucked away in an old piggy bank, or hidden inside a drawer full of pocket change, might just be worth far more than you could ever imagine. So sit back, grab your favorite magnifying glass, and let's explore every detail of this timeless treasure. From its origins and artistic design to its hidden variations, rare errors, and the shocking amount it can be worth today, this is a journey you won't want to miss. The year was 1954. The United States was booming. Post-war optimism was spreading across the nation, families were growing, suburbs were expanding, and the American economy was riding a wave of prosperity. It was an era of jukeboxes, drive-ins, and optimism. Against this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of its most beloved coins, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, originally introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This coin became a staple in American life. It was the very first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Up until then, most American coinage had included representations of liberty or other symbolic figures. The Lincoln cent marked a turning point, not just in design, but in philosophy. It was a symbol of honoring real heroes of American history, and President Lincoln was the perfect figure to start with. Let's dive into the coin's design. The obverse of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny still proudly displays the familiar and dignified profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, remains one of the most iconic images in American coinage. Above Lincoln's head is the phrase, "In God We Trust," a motto that speaks to the nation's values and resilience. To the left of the portrait is the word "Liberty," and to the right, the date, 1954. Just beneath the date, you might see a small letter, D for Denver or S for San Francisco, representing the mint where the coin was struck. If there is no mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin over and you'll see the reverse, featuring the two wheat ears curving gracefully along the sides. Between them are the words, 1 cent and United States of America. Above it all is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This simple yet elegant design, known as the wheat reverse, remained on the penny until 1958 and has earned this coin series its nickname, the Wheat Penny. In 1954, Lincoln Wheat Pennies were struck at 3 different mints: the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a D. The San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Each mint produced millions of pennies that year, but not all were created equal. Some mint locations produced far fewer coins, making those with an S or D mark slightly more desirable, especially in higher grades. Now, here's where things start to get exciting. While billions of pennies have been produced over the decades, the condition of the coin is everything when it comes to value. A typical 1954 penny in circulated condition might fetch a few cents, maybe even a couple of dollars if it's in decent shape. But a coin that has survived the last 70 years without being handled, stored perfectly, and preserved in uncirculated or mint state condition, now that's a game changer. Mint state coins are graded on a scale from MS 60 to MS 70. A 1954 wheat penny graded MS 65 or higher is not only beautiful to look at but also incredibly rare. These are coins that have never seen circulation, never touched by human hands, and have retained their original luster and sharpness. Collectors go wild for these, and then, we have the real unicorns of the coin world, mint error coins. These are 1954 wheat pennies that were struck with mistakes at the mint, errors like double die obverse, where the lettering or date appears doubled, off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to a misaligned planchet, or repunched mint marks, where a mint mark was stamped more than once, slightly off from the original. Error coins like these are fascinating because no two are exactly alike. Each one is a one-of-a-kind relic of an unexpected glitch in the minting process. And because of their rarity, collectors will pay huge premiums to own them. It's also important to mention that some coins come with unique toning, natural color changes that happen over time due to how the coin was stored. While toning can reduce value in some cases, certain patterns, like rainbow toning, are considered beautiful and can increase a coin's worth dramatically. So, what does all of this mean for your 1954 Lincoln wheat penny? If you have a coin in average condition with no mint mark, it might be worth a few cents. But if you have a 1954 D or 1954 S in brilliant uncirculated condition, and especially if it features a rare error or unique variety, you could be holding a coin that collectors are actively hunting for. It's the kind of story that inspires hobbyists and treasure hunters alike. The idea that a simple penny from a handful of change could turn out to be something extraordinary. Every collector dreams of stumbling across one of these special coins, something forgotten, overlooked, but suddenly revealed to be incredibly rare. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, a spectacular 1954 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in flawless mint condition, featuring a rare mint error, recently stunned the coin collecting world when it was valued at an astonishing $90,000. That's right, $90,000. For a 1-cent coin, let that sink in for a moment. The same penny that might have once bought a stick of gum or helped make exact change could now be worth more than a luxury car, more than a down payment on a home, more than most people make in a year. This is the magic of numismatics, the study and collection of coins. It connects us to history, challenges us to learn and observe carefully, and offers the thrill of discovery. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, always keep your eyes open. Because sometimes, a penny really is priceless.